Right, it's two for Tuesday, and it takes two to tango, and we have Jarrod Kimber in the house to dissect, of course, KKR and DC first before we get on to the night game, which is a cracker-jacker by itself, Mumbai Punjab. So hold on to that. But KKR, Delhi Capitals want to cement their place in the top two. KKR, if they win this, they have a fantastic run in, which leads me to my first question, Jarrod. First of all, hope all is well.
Definitely.
Because with you and the injuries going about, I just don't want to jinx anything anymore. We were worried for a bit in cricket.com where Jarrod was, but he was in a meeting. That's fine. Jarrod, coming to the first question, we mentioned it yesterday while reviewing the KKR game. Their run-in is probably relatively easier than anyone else's. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's actually, weirdly, there's a bunch of teams who are around that 4-win mark who have a very similar schedule. I think, if off the top of my head, I think Kolkata, RCB, and is it Mumbai all have basically similar run-ins.
Yeah.
So there's a few teams there that are basically going to be playing the same teams over and over again. Where I think specifically for Kolkata, it's good, is that they play Delhi, obviously, in this game. And then afterwards, they get the easy games. So if they manage to steal a win against Delhi, which, they almost beat Chennai. So you would have to say that they're at least a chance against Delhi as well. That gives them a huge opportunity to be able to come home really, really strong. They should be aiming for probably 3-1 in the last 4 games of the season. And if they beat Delhi, they should be aiming for 4-0 in the last 4 games of the season. It's going to be tough and it's not ideal, but it's certainly a possibility for them. So this is a really, really interesting game because I think, as I said, if I was the analyst working for them, I would have looked at the Chennai Delhi game and be like, we don't need to win both. We need to split those games. We need to win one of those games. They just missed out against Chennai. They can get home against Delhi. I think it changes everything for them.
It might, and remember, this game comes from Sharjah. It was a similar venue which played host to them last time around when it was IPL 2020 in the UAE. So let's see how it goes about it. Let's talk tactics before Jarrod does something funky with his video camera.
I don't know what's going on with that. That's I'm about to go blue, I think.
That's all right. Talking tactics then, because we saw Andre Russell get a niggle. I don't know if it's more than that, but if he's out for this one, would you probably get in Tim Seifert, Saudis in the reckoning, or someone else?
Yeah, they've also got Ben Cutting, don't they?
Yeah.
In their squad. So I would assume that Cutting comes in. I was having a look at this the other day. Cutting's one of those players I've never quite thought was as good as his reputation. But in the IPL, he's got really good records so far. His bowling is very, very ordinary. That might be the reason that they feel a little bit uncomfortable with him. But perhaps the way they've been taking risks, they might think, do you know what? If we can get 2 overs out of Cutting and 1 out of Iyer and 1 out of Rana, we can still get our 4 overs there. And it's not like Russell. I know Russell's been taking wickets, but he's certainly been going for a lot of runs. So I could see how they might go in that direction. Without Russell in, they might also just shake things up completely just because he is such an important person to the middle of that team. It's going to be very hard for them to beat Delhi without Andre Russell in the team. I think that's fair to say.
It is fair to say. Let's see how Delhi will line up in this one. Of course, they can experiment because they're head and shoulders above everyone else, and it's just about whether they'll finish in the top 2 or not. Steve Smith, I mean, he's been patrolling the boundary from time to time. We've seen him in the IPL so far just as a 12th man. But would you see him in the playing 11?
No, I don't. No, I don't think there's. I mean, I would think he's the sort of player you probably don't need to give any playing time to, unless they think that there's a chance for him to play in the finals. If there's a specific role, I think they might need to fill. No, I think. If I was them, I'd probably put Lalit Yadav up the order a little bit. Not massively high, but I just want him to get in, hopefully get some runs, because if Stoinis' hamstring doesn't allow him to come back, they're going to have to make, Lalit Yadav is probably going to have to fill that hole unless they, can get a replacement in. And I wouldn't think you'd be able to at this late in the tournament. So if Stoinis' hamstring is that bad, I think they would do that. So that's what I'd be trying to do, trying to get some runs into maybe the 5, or maybe less so Hetmeyer, but maybe the 6 and 7. Even Akshar Patel, get him up the order if there's an opportunity to do so. Just make sure that those guys are firing when they get to the other end, and then work out how they're going to, that sort of who the 6th bowler is going to be. And if it is Lalit Yadav again, and I guess it is going to be, make sure he bowls some overs. That's what you probably want to be able to do over the next couple of games. Delhi should be winning two of those games with their eyes closed, really. And if they can win those 2 games with their eyes closed, they end up in the top 2. That shouldn't be a problem at all. So just maybe playing around with your team a little bit. Not so much that you're trying to lose the game, but just moving things around to make sure that everyone's in form going ahead. And that's the great thing about being this far ahead of the other teams. It gives you the opportunity to play around a little bit and ensure, a bit like an Olympic athlete, make sure you're ready at the right time.
Yeah, and I don't really put it past Ricky Ponting or Rishabh Pant to experiment, like you said, probably get everyone well oiled when they go into that playoffs and whatnot. Let's, of course, talk predictions about everything else in Cricketlytics Man vs. Machine next. But the fan goodie bag question comes first. It always does. And today we're asking, what's the opening stand going to be like? How many runs is Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw going to score in this match against KKR? They've been blowing hot, blowing cold. You can give us a number. You can give us a vague range if it's 40 to 50. Let us know in the comments below. Jarrod, you seem puzzled.
8.
8. All right. I mean, hopefully he's getting a KKR guy to do some damage early on, I'm guessing. But let's see how it prevails. Predictions then, because it's a real fan of Rahul Tripathi, which is Cricketlytics' robot. I mean, I don't know what it has with Rahul Tripathi, but it just goes for him every time KKR plays. So it says that it's going to score. I mean, he's going to score 40 to 64 runs in this one. I'm surely thinking that you're going someone else.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to score 40 to 60 runs that often, does he? I mean, that's not his thing. His thing is really making between 20 and 40 a lot. No, I won't be going him. I suppose I have either Shubman Gill or Shikhar Dhawan. I thought Gill looked incredible in the last game, and then he went out. Yeah, I'm going to go him again. Shubman Gill. I really like the way he's setting up at the moment, and he hasn't made many runs. I think if you're in that kind of form, occasionally you just sort of stumble into runs. And I certainly, I think it's hard because I don't like going against Shikhar Dhawan, but yeah, I'll go Gill.
Yeah, he went Dhawan last time. He let you down because he chopped on to Karthik Tyagi ball, I think it was. But there's plenty of Indian batsmen to choose from for the viewers who are, of course, making their fantasy picks. Shreyas Iyer, Prithvi Shaw, Venkatesh Iyer. So there's Iyer and Iyer in this one. So that'll be fun.
Double Iyer. Irie.
Double Iyer. Indeed. And with Nokia, in terms of bowling predictions then, 2 to 3 wickets. You're a fan of this man, but I don't think that you'll probably back him in this one, will you?
Well, he's averaging 7.5. I can see why Cricketlytics is going with him. He's got an economy rate of 3.75 and an average of 7.5. He's basically, ridiculous symmetry with his record as well. I'm a fan of him. No, I don't think I will. I don't think I will go him. I'm gonna. It's kind of Rabada or Ferguson. I've got a Rabada or Ferguson thing. Ferguson hasn't taken a lot of wickets here. I'm going to go Rabada again. I know I went him last time, and Nokia did well, but I've got a feeling this might be a game where Rabada picks up a couple of wickets.
Rabada it is, and it's a good shout because I think pace in Sharjah has seen its fair share of wickets. Finally, and this is kind of baffling because you take a look at KKR and DC on paper, it's nothing really to call, but then people would say, you know what, it's Delhi all day long. In terms of Cricketlytics, do you want to guess how much in terms of win percentage it stands right now?
I would assume that Delhi is at 54%.
Close. It's 57%, but It really seems a little bit more with the fact that they've just been so dominant right now. Final word in this match before we preview the following encounter. It's really KKR's game to win, and they can really set up their chances going ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with KKR to win this game. I think Delhi is the better team, and I think that, all the odds suggest Delhi, but I think that KKR have to win this game.
So you're going against the machine?
Going against the machine. I think in that particular case, I think Delhi without Stoinis will, as I said, probably try and get some experience into other players, maybe even experiment a little bit. And I think Kolkata realized that I think they've basically come out all guns blazing. They almost beat Chennai. This is another very big chance for them. I'm not that confident that they will beat Delhi, but if it was a normal game, midway through the season, I would have gone Delhi all the way through. But I think Kolkata have come out. They're going to take a lot of risks, and I'm taking a risk here because we don't know how Andre Russell whether he will play. If he doesn't play, then my risk will probably not pay off. But I just think that this is such an important game for them that they are going to have to throw everything they have at it, which probably brings it down to more of a 50-50 game, just because it doesn't mean as much to Delhi now, as they're basically already guaranteed the top 2 spot. So that's the only reason I'm going with Kolkata. I just think it will be a very interesting one.